Welcome back, everyone. President Obama warning Congress that he will veto any attempt to roll back cuts triggered by the supercommittee's failure to reach a deal, including $600 billion in cuts to defense.
I will veto any effort to get rid of those automatic spending cuts to domestic and defense spending. There will be no easy off-ramps on this one. We need to keep the pressure up to compromise, not turn off the pressure. The only way these spending cuts will not take place is if Congress gets back to work and agrees on a balanced plan to reduce the deficit by at least $1.2 trillion.
It's time to eat your peas. Joining us right now with reaction is Arizona Senator John McCain. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. How are you, gang?
Doing okay. Although when I heard the president say that yesterday, I immediately thought of you, because you and some other senators have been trying to figure a way to lessen the impact of the sequester. And now the president says, if you try anything, I'm going to veto it.
Well, let me say, first of all, that obviously, again, the president has disregarded the recommendations of his Secretary of Defense, Leon Panetta, who said we would have a hollow Army, the smallest Air Force in history, the smallest Navy since 1915, and the smallest Army since 1940. The military chiefs have said these cuts would be totally devastating. We live in a dangerous world, as we should know. So the president, again, has disregarded the strong recommendations and warnings of the Secretary of Defense and the leaders of the military. The second thing is, of course, that if we had agreed to the deal that the Democrats had proposed, it would have split the Republican Party. I'll tell you guys, because people like me who ran for re-election in 2010 said we won't raise taxes in hard times. Right. They wanted $1 trillion in tax increases and never budged from that. And by the way, I'm proud of Pat Toomey and John Kyle and Jeb Hensling and all of these other people, and Rob Portman, who stood fast under enormous liberal pressure.
Yeah, but it still doesn't look good, I don't think, for America to not be able to come up with some sort of a solution, and it leaves you scratching your head about why Congress approval rating is at 12% right now. But Senator, let me ask you this, because Senator
Gretchen,
Toomey,
the last time the last time I saw it was at 9.
Oh, okay.
And we're down to, as you've heard me say, we're down. Yeah. We're down to blood relatives and paid staffers.
All right. Well, if only it were so funny. But let me talk about Senator Toomey, because he was on the show earlier. And
I saw him.
He's also concerned about these defense cuts, and he alluded to the fact that maybe this might be one of the few bipartisan things that you guys can come together on, that maybe some Democrats will also agree that defense cutting is not the way to go. And he was proposing maybe agricultural subsidies going away. What do you make of that?
I'm all for that. But by the way, Senator Lindsey Graham and I are working on a proposal that we could continue to have defense savings. And by the way, over the next 10 years, there is already planned $460 billion in defense cuts. We've already cut $20 billion for fiscal year 2012. Look, we are reducing defense spending, and we're doing it rather dramatically. So I think we should do away with the agricultural subsidies. There's a whole lot of things we should do. And finally, we should go ahead. Who disagrees on tax reform? Why don't we scrap the tax code, have 3 tax brackets, have 2 deductions, mortgage deductions and donations to charity, and scrap the rest of it? Why? Find me an American who wouldn't agree with that.
Sure. Well, Erskine Bowles, you know, in the Washington Post today, they bring up a recommendation for a reset. They say, let's go back to Erskine Bowles, make a few fine-tuning, maybe some adjustments for both sides, and then just offer that for a vote. How would you feel about that?
I think it's better. Frankly, there are some parts of Erskine Bowles that I disagree with, but I think it's better than doing nothing. And I think we could make some significant changes. Look, I'm afraid that the philosophical differences between the two parties may have to be decided next November, not this one.
But what about the president not saying anything pretty much yet, even in the morning when he's signing that bill, not meeting with Patty Murray? She was sitting right next to him, and then just saying, just blaming Republicans in the afternoon. What about his leadership style through this whole thing?
Look, you know what his strategy is. Despite the fact he had overwhelming majorities in his first 2 years as President of the United States and did all kinds of things that obviously in my view, have turned out to making things worse. Now his whole strategy is blame it on Congress. That's the whole thing, and it's unfortunate, but and I don't think it'll work. But we Republicans have to come up with a solid economic proposal, jobs creation plans that we've been kind of all over the lot on. If we had a kind of a contract with America like we had back during the Clinton years, when we regained control of the Congress, it would make a huge difference. We've got to have some more positive proposals, although they're out there, but we got to be more. Show solidarity, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, because it's always more difficult to go up against an incumbent who has the advantage just because of that. Senator John McCain, happy Thanksgiving to you. I hope you get to spend some time with your family.
Same to you, turkeys.
Thank you very much. Well,
we were that close to getting away.
Right. My next